What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. Happy Friday to you all. Spurs' last game before the international break against Leeds United at Ellen Road. That dreaded last game before the international break.
Those dreaded words before international break. Those 3 words.
Spurs on back-to-back draws, so it's imperative that we do kind of close off this period before the international break with a win against one of the newly promoted sides. We have got quite a bit to speak about today. A few announcements from Thomas Frank, and we're going to start off with the first one regarding the leadership group, because everyone's been asking in all the press conferences so far this season, who's in the leadership group? When you naming the leadership group? We all know that Romero was named captain at the start of the season. Well, now Frank has finally announced who is in the leadership group.
He said in his press conference, every press conference you ask me, you put me under so much pressure, I've got to give it to you now.
Yeah.
I've got to announce it. every press conference you ask me.
Yeah, so he's finally done it. And as you can see on screen, Ben Davies has been added to the leadership group, along with Vicario, Romero, James Maddison, and Mickey van der Ven. So obviously Mickey van der Ven is also a new addition. We saw him on as captain the other night, getting a goal against Bodo Glimt. What's your initial thoughts on the leadership group?
Yeah, obviously, so we've basically taken Sonny out, who's obviously left the club, and we've added Mickey van der Ven and Ben Davies, who weren't in it last season. Frank explained his thinking in the press conference, saying he wanted to kind of cover all facets of the squad.
What does he mean by that?
So I think he means, younger players, more experienced players, maybe Spanish speakers. I don't know what different cliques there are. I'm guessing there's a few different cliques within the squad. Obviously, it looks like we're quite a tight-knit squad anyway. I don't think anyone doesn't get along, but naturally, Tell hangs out with Odebear and Romero hangs out with Bentancur. That's just kind of how things work sometimes in squad. So he wanted to cover
like language barrier speaking kind of thing.
Yeah, and age groups, all different things. So he wanted all bases covered. So I'm guessing Van der Ven maybe represents the younger groups. Romero, obviously he's the captain, so he's going to be there. Maddison, some of the English guys are more experienced guys. Ben Davies obviously been there the longest now, so he's like someone who knows the club inside out since for the last 10 years. Obviously he's been here since like the White Hart Lane days and stuff. So I'm guessing all these guys just cover a lot of the aspects of the squad. So I think it's fine. I think Van der Ven's a very interesting one, because he's obviously one who maybe at the beginning of the season you wouldn't have said definitely would have been in there, but you've seen him take a lot more of a senior role within the squad. You see him talking a lot more. Obviously, he's a young player, but he's not that young anymore, 24, and so because he's been here a couple of years, obviously he's a consistent star, consistent fixture in the team now, and you can see him growing in responsibility and being that centre back. He's adding those leadership skills, so it's very interesting. I think it's an interesting part of his development that he's now added to this leadership group. That's going to help him, I think, when it comes to organising defences and just being a louder voice within the dressing room. It's going to help him. Maddison, obviously, it's good for him, even though he's out for the remainder of the season. It's good for him to remain part of that leadership group. Obviously, first of all, it keeps him involved with goings on. I'm sure it's hard. I think you've seen it with players. They speak about it a lot when they're injured for a long time. It can be a very lonely and isolating place. They're in the gym, they're recovering, they're watching their teammates training and stuff like that. So that obviously keeps him involved with everything going on, and he keeps his finger on the pulse, and maybe being outside of the group in terms of not necessarily playing week in, week out, he can offer a different perspective anyway. But as well, he was part of the leadership group last season. They're not necessarily going to take him out. I think obviously Ben Davies is an interesting one, because he's obviously been part of the club for so long, and naturally you think he should be part of it, but no one's ever kind of seen him in that role. All the managers that are, I can't remember too many times he's been captain. Maybe a handful.
He has been, but yeah,
he has been, but not too many times. He's not one that we usually point to always. He obviously under Ange, he didn't select him as part of the leadership group. We didn't really have a leadership group under Conte, did we? It's kind of been a thing since Ange came in. But he wasn't one of the leaders, I don't think, or one of the captains when Conte was there. So maybe Frank is seeing either something that the others aren't seeing, or maybe he's just feeling like because he's the most experienced, because he's been here the longest, he should be his voice is important, put it that way, in these conversations, and it should be heard, and he's a good voice to have in whenever they meet up and discuss the certain whatever they're going to discuss. So I think that's fair enough. Obviously, it's interesting, players like Porro, Bentancur, maybe even Paulinho, who obviously you would think naturally have leadership qualities. Kulusevski as well. I know he's injured for a while, but a lot of people are thinking, should he be part of the leadership group because he's got good mentality and he speaks well. So obviously those kind of players being left out, is there something to say they could be part of it? But obviously, even if you're not part of the group, doesn't mean you don't have a voice or you can't be involved in leadership. So I doubt Frank is not going to expect those kind of things from them, even if they're not part of the leadership group. But yeah, I've got no problem with it. I think it's a good group.
Yeah, I mean, on Ben Davies, it is important to note he is Wales's captain as well, so he does have that leadership quality while captaining his nation. It'll be interesting to know who is like the official vice captain out of these lot. It could be James Maddison, but obviously we won't see Maddison for a while in Spurs shirts. So who is going to be this season's vice captain?
Interesting. On Tuesday, Vicario was playing, and he gave Van der Ven had the captain's armband. Yeah. So does that make him the vice captain potentially? Right now, anyway.
It very well could be. I got a feeling it could actually be Ben Davies, but Ben Davies is rarely going to play, so that probably makes it Van der Ven as de facto vice captain. But in terms of what was said on the website, because they did release a whole statement about it and a whole article, and they said Thomas Frank has named his leadership group for the 25-26 season. Joining club captain Romero are Ben Davies, James Maddison, Guillermo Vicario and Mickey van der Ven. Thomas Frank said all 5 players have leadership qualities and crucially the potential to become even better leaders. They have the ability to speak up on the pitch, in the dressing room and in meetings. However, it's not just about football, it's about people too. They are aware of their teammates, how to make the group function in a good way and how to make the team tick both on and off the pitch. It's important that the whole dressing room is represented in the leadership group, and Kuti, Ben, Madders, Vic and Mickey do that. While these 5 players make up the official leadership group, we have a dressing room that is full of leadership potential, and I'm looking forward to more players stepping up in matches and around the training centre, and that's basically what you were talking about before. And I think players like João Paulinho are definitely an example of that. He goes on to talk about each and every individual player, and he said World Cup winning Kuti was named captain by Thomas Frank at the start of the season, taking over from Son Heung-min. The centre-back joined us from Atalanta in the summer of 2021, having just been named the best defender in Serie A in the 2021 season. He was outstanding in our UEFA Europa League triumph last season and led the team out in the final in Bilbao in May. He's now up to 132 appearances for us in all competitions. Our longest serving player, Ben, has racked up 358 appearances in all competitions since joining us in the summer of 2014. Captain of Wales, he sits second in our all-time European appearance holders on 73 and has regularly worn the armband over his 10 years of service.
He's made more European appearances than Kane and Son.
Who's top?
Must be Kane. No, it must be Son.
Son, yeah, it's got to be Son, surely. And then he goes on, playmaker Madders joined us in the start of 23-24 campaign, a key player in the latter stages of our run to the Europa League glory last season. James missed the final due to a knee injury, then suffered another setback, this time an anterior cruciate ligament injury during pre-season, a huge influence on and off the field. He's made 75 appearances for us and has already worn the captain's armband. Goalkeeper Vic also played a huge role in the Europa League triumph last season, making a huge late save in the final and was led as we led 1-0 in Bilbao. Joining us in 2023, his form has seen him capped 4 times for Italy. Vic has previously captained the team and he's up to 83 appearances for us in all competitions. And finally, Mickey led the team out for the first time in our UEFA Champions League draw against Bodo Glimt this week, marking that honour with his first Champions League goal as we came from 2-0 down to draw 2-2 in Norway. Renowned for his pace, he will always be remembered for that spectacular overhead clearance to deny United in the Europa League final. A full Netherlands international, Mickey also joined us at the start of 23-24 and has now 60 appearances to his name. And it's interesting, isn't it, now, where 3 out of the 5 in the leadership group were all signed in that summer, Andrew's first summer, where you look at James Maddison, Vicario and Mickey van der Ven. look, I think all three of them are very worthy candidates. And I am delighted that Mickey van der Ven is now in that leadership group. How old is he now? Like 23, 24?
24. He signed it when he was 22 and he signed it.
Yeah, so I feel when I see Mickey van der Ven speak in interviews, in the press conference he was in a couple of weeks back, I feel like, you can see what a good candidate he is for the leadership role.
Yeah, and I think that's part of his development as a player, as a person, that he's getting more responsibility in the dressing room. So that's really good. And obviously, hopefully, there's obviously rumours of Real Madrid and all these different things. Obviously, having that responsibility is going to tie him closer to the club as well, which is also great. When it comes to someone like Paulinho, do you feel like if he wasn't on loan and he was a permanent signing, maybe he would have been in it?
Potentially, but I said it at the time when James Maddison was made vice captain. Like, I guess it's different being in the leadership group as being a full-blown vice captain, but I feel like you need to earn your stripes a little bit. You need to be with the group at least a year, just to get to know your teammates a little bit more. You can still show that leadership ability without being in the leadership group and without being a vice captain. And I think João Paulinho will do that and probably already has done that. But I think, I think even if we signed him full term, I think I still would have liked to see him be with us for a year before officially naming him in that kind of group.
Yeah, I wonder if we do sign him permanently in the summer, if he then does.
He probably would. I reckon he would. I reckon he would, because you can see it in him as well.
Yeah, and that's a natural part of his personality, isn't it? So I'm looking forward to the new leadership group, what it brings. I think it's good. Obviously, the only thing I would say about Vicario, obviously him being part of it, does it make it harder for Frank to leave him out if that time has to come?
Nah, I don't think so, because Ben Davies is part of it. And
I know, but he's not. But Ben Davies is never going to be our number one.
I don't think so. Like, you can be a leader on and off the pitch, and that's what he's talking about in the statement as well. It's not just about everything that goes on the pitch. I think captain is a bit different, but leadership group, I don't think you need to play week in, week out to be part of the leadership group.
I guess it depends on Vicario's mentality. I think I'm not necessarily saying you have to play week in, week out to be part of it, but if you're number one keeper and you're part of the leadership group, so what they're saying is you're a really important part of the squad. You are one of the leaders of the squad, and you are number one. If you take away that status of him being number one keeper, surely that does affect things a bit. Like, in terms of, because you're not all of a sudden not that leader in the dressing room if you're not a number one keeper. You know what I mean?
From what I know about Vic and his mentality, like, if he's part of the leadership group, which he is, and because of performance-related issues, Kinski gets a shot, and he's kind of like seen as, the first-choice keeper for a few weeks. I think Vicario will fight tooth and nail to get back in that. I don't think he's going to throw his toys out the pram or anything like that, and I still think he will hold up his standards as a leader in the group and part of the leadership group. So I'm not worried about that, really. To
be fair, it's a bit of a premature conversation anyway. I don't think he's getting dropped anytime soon.
Yeah.
But obviously, last couple of games he hasn't come to himself much glory. But I'm trying to think. Obviously, Porro was captain against Doncaster, so he's worn the captain's armband in recent weeks. Some people saying, should he be in it? I like his mentality as well.
It doesn't really matter who's in the leadership group, does it? Because, like we said before, like, there are leaders outside of the leadership group as well. Like, Porro is one, and Paulinho is one. There's probably others as well to mention. So, like Frank says, you need a squad full of leaders, not just a particular leadership group. You need a whole squad of them. And I think, part of that leadership group, a couple of other players, we're building a squad of it to kind of guide the young players through.
Yeah, I'm guessing so. When it covers the whole squad, I'm guessing Van der Ven, they're saying covers all the younger players. I'm guessing as the youngest member of the leadership group. I'm guessing he resonates more with like Bergvall, Gray, maybe Odegaard, Tell, maybe these guys, the really young guys in the group. I think that makes sense, I guess. Could there have been even younger player on there? Or
the only one that you can look at as like a proper young player on the leadership group is Lucas Bergvall. But his time will come. Yeah. His time will come. And look, I think if Bergvall sticks around with us for, let's say, the next 10 years, I think he'll end up being club captain one day, the way he's going.
There's a lot of people want to be club captain. Junai said he wants to be club captain.
Yeah, he said
Junai said it. Yeah, hopefully. I think I like a lot of the mentality of a lot of young players. I think a lot of them have leadership ability. They all like to encourage and have their voices heard. So I think at some points, this squad, our team, have had players who are maybe too nice, maybe don't like to speak up, maybe are too quiet, a bit too introverted, and maybe because they've been all so close as friends, they don't hold each other to account. But I think we got a good group here who do like to speak, who will keep standards. People like Paulini will do that, but I don't think they're going to start tearing into each other.
Yeah, I mean, if things do go horribly wrong and people aren't holding up their standards, then I hope they do tear into each other, because I think that's what's needed sometimes. But
turn on each other, I should say.
Yeah, turn on each other's, no one wants to see that. But lay into each other and getting people to keep standards and hold standards, I've got no problem with that.
Yeah, I didn't mean not hold standards. I mean, like, it can happen. Squads they can turn on each other. There's clash of personalities, all these different things. I don't think I'm worried about that. I think we've got a quite good tight-knit group. But I also think sometimes in previous seasons the squad's been too nice, and I think we've got some really good
characters.
Good characters in there.
Yeah, 100%. So that is the leadership group that Frank has announced. Moving on, we are going to look. We're going to talk about a confirmed new contract in Rodrigo Bentancur. We brought you the news yesterday that the Athletic reported that Bentancur is in advanced talks now to sign a new Spurs contract, and that has now been signed, sealed and delivered. As Tottenham say that we are delighted to announce that Rodrigo Bentancur has signed a new long-term contract with the club. It's interesting. I don't know why this is, but every time we announce a contract now, I think Romero is a bit different, but we don't seem to tell people. They don't seem to tell anyone when this contract is running till. This is no different. There's no length or anything. It just says long-term contract.
Very odd. I'm guessing it's a 3-year extension. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
If it is a 3-year extension, that will take him to what, till he's 31.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which is fine. But obviously we'll see what his future holds long term. What I think is the good news. Obviously, it holds its value. Look, we are talking about a player who's at least worth 30-40 million pounds here. So the fact that we've retained that value is a good thing, and I think he's a good player as well. Obviously, we all hope we start seeing the best of him, and I think he's had a pretty good start to the season, and we're on that journey. But obviously, there are things he needs to work on, improve on. One thing I found interesting in the announcement, where is it? It's on the website. There was it was Thomas Frank who was talking about what Bentancur offers, and I thought it was quite interesting what he was saying. Where is it? Trying to get the announcement. So here, what he said was, for the Frank quotes, he said. Maybe it was on Twitter. He said basically he's a player who likes to dictate the game and likes to set the tone of the game, and he can also get in the box, he can also score goals. And it's like, okay, that's quite interesting way of thing for Frank to say, because that's kind of not how he's used him, and that's not really how we've seen him so far. He's kind of used him more as a defensive midfielder. And these are things that obviously a lot of fans have complained about Bentancur, not necessarily scoring, because no one's really expected that of him, but like setting the pace of a game, dictating a game, being like a deep lying playmaker. Frank's kind of insinuating that's going to be his role, and I find that quite interesting, because that's something that a lot of people say first of all he can't do, and that's not what kind of player he is. But is that how Frank sees him?
Well, the thing is with Bentancur, I do think he's got that kind of skill set in his locker. And I think we saw that kind of skill set in his locker before that injury. But we haven't seen it on a consistent basis since that injury. So Frank obviously knows Bentancur as a player, what he's been about for the majority of his career, and he's backing himself to get the best back out of him. Because I think all those facets that you're talking about, we have seen that in his career. Maybe not consistent goal scoring, but dictating the tempo, being a deep lying playmaker.
I think what was interesting is maybe more at Juve we saw that kind of element to his game. He was more of that kind of player at Juve, like a more of a number 6 who likes to get on the ball and kind of spray pass dictator. At Tottenham, he was at his best under Conte when he was kind of more of like a box to box, driving forward, ball carrying ability, taking players on, being able to turn on the ball. I've never really felt like I'm not saying he's a bad passer, but I've never really felt like his biggest strength of being someone who gets on the ball and can pass through the lines and dictate the play and stuff like that. I've never seen that as his like biggest strength, I feel.
Do you not think he's got it in him though? Like from what I've seen of him and what I know from his play, I do think he has it in him to do that.
I mean, potentially. I just never. I don't think that's since being at Tottenham. I don't think that's been his biggest strength. I'm trying to get the full quote. I can't find it anywhere. Where did I see it? I can't find. Where is it?
Well, you've said what the quote is.
I know. I don't know if I'm misremembering it, but I'm just trying. I want to be accurate in what he said, because I thought it was quite interesting. I think anyway, I'll try and find it, but I think he has those capabilities. I think he's like I think he's capable of that, and when he's but that's just not what he's been at Tottenham. That's all I would say. So it's interesting that's how Frank sees him. So maybe we'll start to see more of those things come out of him.
I hope so, but it's all up to him. It's all up to Rodrigo Bentancur to show consistent form, and whether he shows those kind of facets or not, we need to see consistent performances and
So
consistently good performances.
He says he's a fantastic midfielder who can dictate games and be the glue that holds the team together. He also has the ability to arrive in the penalty area, create goals, and score goals.
The thing is, though, that kind of sitting deep and dictating tempo, that is the kind of role he does for Uruguay.
Yeah. And he also did that for Juve. That was kind of his moral role at Juve. Tottenham's been quite different since he's been here. So, look, we'll see how that develops. Maybe we'll see a different side to Bentancur.
But again, it doesn't change the fact that I don't want to see him and João Palhinha in the same midfield against these kind of teams that we've been playing against, like your Wolves and your Bournemouths.
Well, if he becomes good at these elements of the game, then maybe it can work. If this is what Frank is saying. Frank is saying he can dictate games, create goals, score goals, get a rival late in the penalty area. That's what we need to see more of him if he's going to play with Palhinha. We need to see more of him doing that stuff. The problem is when they're playing together, I ain't seen him do this.
The thing is, no, I get what you're saying, but the thing is, against these kind of teams, when we're going to ask to have the majority of the possession, we're going to ask to drive forward. If he's going to be that kind of deep lying playmaker, and we don't need João Palhinha in the team. Have him in the 6 doing all those things, and then have him next to more attacking players.
But it's interesting. He doesn't talk about doesn't say he's a destroyer, he's a warrior. He doesn't compliment his defensive skills. He compliments other facets.
Yeah,
which I also find quite interesting. Does he not see him as a defensive midfielder? Maybe.
Well, the way he's used him so far, maybe not from what we've seen on the pitch, but maybe who he's been playing with on the pitch when next to a João Palhinha, maybe he doesn't see him as a defensive midfielder.
But he also, Boda, he played him with Sarr and with Bergvall, I think Doncaster.
I think he sees him as a multifunctional midfielder. That's what he sees him as. I don't think he's going to put him in one particular box. Because I think Rodrigo Bentancur, for me, I see him as more of a 6. I don't see him as like an attacking midfielder or anything like that. I could see him as a box-to-box.
I've always thought him as more of an 8, I think.
A box-to-box, like 8/6, I guess. I think 6/8, I mean.
When he was at his best for Spurs, in that little period, he was an 8. That was when I think he was at his best for us. And when he was playing for Uruguay at that moment as well. He was getting forward.
He plays doesn't he play for more Uruguay in a deeper role now?
Now he does, but when he was at that World Cup, he didn't. That World Cup, he was an 8.
Yeah, you're talking nearly 4 years ago now, though.
Still, I'm just saying that was when he was at his best. And remember under Conte, he was scoring goals. Like I remember that brace he got against Leeds.
Yeah,
we beat them 4-3. Like he was getting in the box and he was scoring and he was creating chances. Like I remember Bielsa was saying he's one of the midfielders for me that can do everything. He's like amazing defensively,
Yeah.
and he's really good going forward. He was like really complementing everything. So, yeah, look, my only point would be he says a lot of these things. I'm just saying when he has played under Frank, we haven't seen any of this stuff that he's talking about he can do. So I don't know whether it's he's being asked to do it and he just hasn't, or Frank's not asking him to bring these elements into the game. I don't know what's going on. I'm just saying it'll be fantastic if what Frank is saying we can see a bit more on the pitch when he's playing. Well, because if he can bring more of these elements, then I think he can play with Paulinho.
Do you feel with Rodrigo Bentancur, now he's signed this extension, let's say for argument's sake, we don't know for sure, but let's say for argument's sake it is 3 years. Do you think we will keep him for those 3 years, or do you think in the next couple of years we'll look to sell him?
It's tough to predict. I think most likely we might look to sell him, because I think he's the kind of guy who wouldn't mind going La Liga or something like that. If Atletico, maybe he wouldn't mind a move. It depends how important he is to us. I think if he gets back to, and we've always said it, but if he can start implementing some of this, is what Frank is saying, and become that kind of player, that multifaceted player, and put in really consistent performances, there's no reason to want to get rid of him. And I think we could keep him, but if he's still being a bit like how he is now, being consistent, good some games, but never really reach that level consistently, then I wouldn't be surprised if we take a good offer.
Yeah. The way I see it, I like Bentancur. I think he's a very good player, very solid player, and, he's got a good head on his shoulders. But I think he's got this season to really prove his consistency. And I think if he doesn't prove his consistency this season, because it's been a while now since the ACL, I think if he doesn't prove his consistency this season, I think they could even look to sell him this summer.
Yeah, I think, look, at the end of the day, you got Gray now. Paulinho's showing good stuff. So if they're showing what we require and he's not, then he'll be out the door.
Yeah, and you can get a decent fee.
Yeah, you can get 30-40 million for him.
Yeah. But look, that's the Bentancur contract. Congratulations, Rodrigo Bentancur. What is that, the second contract he signed at this football club?
Guess so.
Yeah, it must be. So congratulations to Rodrigo Bentancur. He has signed on the dotted line, and we're going to move on. And
Actually, maybe not necessarily, because he signed in 2021. It could have been like a 4-year deal, 5-year deal.
Yes, a second contract.
What, you saying the first one when he signed?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine. I thought not since he signed, yeah.
Yeah. Next up, we're going to talk about the one and only Jed Spence, as he has been called up again to the England squad, second time running under Thomas Tuchel. And let's hope he gets more game time this time.
Yeah, well, he got 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Fantastic for him. Even though, obviously, a doggy's come back in the fold, he still had a fairly good month. It's interesting, he was talking about, Tuchel was talking about Lewis Skelly, saying, he's not necessarily guaranteed a place at the World Cup.
He's not playing.
That's the thing. So he's saying he's not necessarily guaranteed a place at the World Cup. Obviously, Spence is playing at the moment, so he's got a battle on his hands. But great news for Jed. Keeps his progression going. He's now regularly being called up to England squads, so that's really good and great news for him. I think he's had a pretty good start to the season for us as well.
Yeah, he has. I think he's started in every game, bar the Brighton game, if I'm correct in saying so. Yeah, very good start to the season.
The only thing I worry for him a bit is, I'm not saying he's not going to get minutes, but I just think we look better when we have Doggy and Porro. So,
yeah, I don't deny that, but I mean, we've got so many games, don't we?
Yeah.
Like, they're going to all share the minutes round, in my opinion, and I think Frank's going to be rotating him, Doggy and Porro consistently throughout the season.
I think that's true. I'm just saying, in the more important games, I wonder if he'll be in the team or not.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because there's some games where you want to be more defensively solid, and I think Jed is going to be favoured in those games. But then in the games where you really want to take the game to the opposition, maybe he won't be favoured. Because I feel like going forward, he does have value going forward, but I just think the other two have a lot more about them going forward.
Definitely. But the thing is, I think the Doggy can be good defensively. So it's about whether I think he's phenomenal, Doggy. Like, I think he can do everything, and he gets forward better than Jed. I think Jed is better defensively than him, but he's also very strong and also very fast. So those physical qualities that Jed has that separates him from a lot of fullbacks, that strength and pace that he got, I think the Doggy also has that. So I think he can. I think he's like similar age, maybe a bit younger than Spence, isn't he? 2 years.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to develop him in any way. I thought the way he dealt with Minto was brilliant. So I just think the Doggy is a bit more of a complete fullback than Spence.
I don't disagree massively. I think from what I've seen from both at left back this season, I probably do prefer a Doggy in my team from what I've seen. However, I think the one thing that Jed has over a Doggy is his one-on-one defending. That's probably the only thing I think he has over him.
He has it over him, but I'm saying I don't think Doggy's bad at it.
Yeah, I just think like Jed is phenomenal at it.
Yeah, he's very good. I think he's one of the best in the league when it comes to when he's squared up against a winger. He's just very hard to beat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Next up, we're going to talk about the team news going into the game this weekend. Thomas Frank in the press conference says that Romero is fit and available and will start tomorrow. That is promising news. And that contact to the foot, and I think the medical did a good job to get him turned around so quickly. Dom was a minor procedure to the foot. It went well. We'll know more after the international break. Kolo Muani is an interesting one. He says that he's been on the pitch the last 2 days, so that's positive. However, he will not be in the squad tomorrow. Kota Takai is getting better and better, and he's trained with the team for the last 10 days, so that's promising. Interesting on Kolo Muani. I mean, it's just such a peculiar situation, isn't it? The deadest of dead legs. Like, we've seen him in one cameo performance against Villarreal, and he got a dead leg, and we haven't seen him since. It's just baffling. It's baffling, man.
Isn't it? Obviously, he signed on deadline day, so we were never going to see him in August anyway. But yeah, it's a very frustrating situation because, as you say, Solanke's also now injured still, and Richarlison's bearing the brunt. And obviously, Tell, when he's played in that position, hasn't really cut it. So Richarlison's getting a lot of the minutes, and I think he's doing well in some games, but I think he seems to be struggling a lot with that burden of being the only striker. So I think he needs a bit of help right now, and that's where Muani should have come in, but he's got this odd injury and it's ruled him out for now 2.5 weeks, which is crazy. He's got a dead leg. I mean, it can't be. He must be covering something else. It must be a more serious knock than just a dead leg. I can't imagine he just got a hit in the thigh or whatever it is that causes a dead leg, and he's been out now for 2.5 weeks. It's very frustrating.
It must not be a dead leg as we know it, like getting a dead leg in the playground when someone kicks you in the thigh. Like, it can't. Surely it can't be the same thing.
You're done for 5 minutes and then you're back on the pitch. What's the big deal? But look, it sounds like he's back on the grass, which is great. And then after international break, maybe he should be available. Yeah. However, we did say it about obviously Solanke, didn't we?
But the difference is Solanke needed surgery.
Yeah, but we didn't know he needed surgery until they told us. Yeah. So I'm hoping it's not a similar thing.
No need surgery for a dead leg, do you?
No, but maybe it isn't. I don't know. I'm just hoping it's not just one of these situations where he's struggling with something and they're not really being honest about it, and it's going to drag on.
It's actually true here what Cantab says in the comments. The guy's never been injured in his life.
It's mad. And he comes to Tottenham and instantly, within one cameo, he's got an injury. It's just crazy.
Do you remember when we were talking about Sadi? He was like, wow, what an injury record this
guy
has.
He's literally never actually had an injury, apart from now where he's got a dead leg, which is crazy. So hopefully we get to see him very soon, which is just very frustrating. With Solanke, I guess it's minor surgery, but I don't know what that means for him. Yeah, whether that means months, weeks, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, they said we'll know more after the international break. But look, get Kolo Muani training over international break. I assume he's not been called up to France, so it'll be good to Frank to get him, training consistently. Kota Takai, it'll be interesting to see if he's going to be in any matchday squads anytime soon.
Yeah, because they said 10 days. That's quite a while now. Yeah, so.
But he didn't have a pre-season.
No, he didn't. Yeah. So we've got two defenders in Takai and Dragoshin who for a while have been training with the first team, but we're just not using.
Yeah, and neither had pre-seasons. Obviously, Dragoshin's off the back of an ACL, so that one's a bit precarious. But I guess the most positive news is Romero, because there was a bit of an inkling with me, like when they left him at home in the Bodo, I was like, is there more than they're letting on here with Coutinho Romero? But clearly not.
Yeah, and it's great that he's back involved, back in the team, and we missed him. We really did miss him. As much as Danso covers him well, I think he's, unfortunately, given that we don't have many progressive passes in the midfield at the moment, he does a really good, important job in that backline. When he's not there, that's just another player who just allows us to get out the pitch, out of the team. And you saw with some of the passes Danto was doing how we missed Romero.
Yeah. Next up, we're going to be talking about takeover talk once again. As when I was away off the channel, there was all this madness about former DJ Brooklyn Eric apparently put in a bid to take over Tottenham Hotspur, £4.5 million takeover bid, which was, quite quickly rejected by Tottenham, which they put on a statement. The Mirror reporting that after Tottenham revealed last month they had turned down a £4.5 billion takeover offer, one that would have seen that set a world record, led by former DJ Brooklyn Eric. The potential takeover of Tottenham Hotspur by former DJ is looking increasingly unlikely now, as one of his key investors has backed out of the deal.
Oh, right, who's reporting that?
The Mirror.
Well, not great, but whatever, it is what it is. I don't know. I don't even know much about him. If he would have been a good person to take us over or not. Obviously,
it was gonna give us a 1.2 billion transfer fund.
When I heard all these things, I think I don't know if this guy knows what he's doing. 1.2 billion. That's not how people do things. They just give you a 1.2 billion transfer fund. Yeah, I don't know. He seemed to be doing it a lot for attention. It seemed to me.
It seemed that way. But yeah, exactly.
Like that's no way to do things professionally. Like very much like doing all these posts and like implying all these things. Like if you're serious, you do it behind closed doors and you put in bids. You don't like put all these cryptic tweets out on social media if you're serious about like taking over our football club, in my opinion. So I don't know, it just seemed to be there was something off about it from the beginning.
Yeah, and it did remind me a lot about that potential Arsenal takeover a couple of years back with the Spotify guy. I can't remember his name, but he also like drew a lot of things out in the press trying to get fans on board and everything like that, when Arsenal fans were under a lot of unrest under the Cronkies. And what that actually did was it kicked the Cronkies into gear a little bit, and on the back of that, the Cronkies kind of stepped it up, invested a lot of money into the club, and Arsenal are now. Got the best squad in the league and potentially favourites for the title. Can that have a similar impact into ENIC now?
I don't know. Maybe. I wouldn't put money on it.
What are your feelings? What are your feelings towards ENIC now? Do you feel like they will be putting their money where their mouth is?
What does that look like? Is that 200? How much should we like? Do I think the spending is going to substantially increase?
Do you think? I'm saying, do you think that Spurs are going to start acting like an actual serious club and start bringing in some top talent, or even better top talent, and starting increasing the wage bill and all that kind of stuff?
Wage bill I can see increasing, but I think it was always going to increase because we've lost a lot of big wage players like Son, and that gap needs filling.
Can we bring in a key player on like 350 grand a week?
I don't know. I think it will increase, and maybe I still think we're going to have a wage structure.
Everyone has a wage structure.
We're still going to have, and it's still going to be capped. I like.
So you think like the wage structure will still be capped at like 200k?
No, I think it will probably increase, maybe 250. But I don't think it's going to go all of a sudden to like 400 or something, or 350. I don't think so. I think it's going to be run fairly similarly. I think the spending will increase. I think maybe, at the moment our limit seems to be 65 million or something on a player. Maybe that will increase. I don't know if it'll go to 100 necessarily. Like, to be honest, I don't know if our spending has increased significantly, over the last 5 years. Under Ange in his first summer, we spent 200 million. This summer, how much did we spend? Nearly 200 million. I know when you're comparing that to what Arsenal and Liverpool spent, 400 million odd, haven't they?
Yeah.
Liverpool did. I don't know how much. Arsenal was over 300 million. So it's still lagging behind that. And I think it will increase maybe to the 250 kind of arena. I don't know if we're going to start entering that Arsenal, Liverpool kind of 300, 400 million windows. I would highly doubt that, to be honest.
What do they need to do, ENIC, to get you on board?
I'm not on board. I'm happy to see where it goes, and I don't think 200, 250 is anything to massively complain about. I'm just Yeah, I mean that's fine. I'm willing to see where it goes. I'm not like against what's happening or anything.
I don't think anyone can be against what's happening at this moment in time. It is a wait and see job kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm just skeptical about their intentions. I'm skeptical about everything because of just how everything's been done. But we'll see.
Why do you think they haven't accepted
Accepting what?
this $4.5 billion takeover bid?
Is it real?
Well, I mean, they came out and said it is real, and they rejected it. They put a whole statement out on the
Maybe
website.
they want more money.
Like, how much more? Like, if they are looking to sell, like, all the noise coming out is like, well, not the noise. What they are saying, they're saying it straight in front of our face. They don't want to sell. Obviously, that can be seen as a negotiation tactic to say if you don't want to sell, then obviously that drives up the price.
It would. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying that's obviously the thing to take from it. Like, if they're saying they don't want to sell, it could drive up the price. Obviously, if they do want to sell, they could also say like the club's on the market and we're looking for active buyers. There's two ways you can go about it, but obviously the smarter way.
There's no incentive to do
Yeah,
that.
so the smarter way is to say that we're not for sale, to get the best price available. But $4.5 billion does seem like a decent.
It's a world record bid.
Yeah,
But it is a world record bid. But I think Chelsea went for not too far off that.
they went for $3 billion, I think.
Was it not near 4?
Maybe.
Because they went for a world record bid when they got sold. So Chelsea went for I think it was 4.2, wasn't it?
Maybe. I'll check now.
So on that basis, if Chelsea are going for that and they're not a cash cow like we are.
4.2 billion. Yeah.
Yeah. So from that basis, I think our revenues are a lot more than Chelsea, and the potential revenues is more because I don't think Chelsea have the events that we have, and we're doing even more stuff as well. So the potential revenue is going to even more. Match day revenue, I think we have more than Chelsea. So why should they sell for close to what Chelsea sold? It should be a lot more.
Yeah. And also Chelsea was just a peculiar situation because that was like a government-led sale, wasn't it? It wasn't like a normal sale. So maybe it could be even more than that if they were just like a normal club to business to business sale kind of thing. But
I reckon they think they could get close to 6, maybe.
6 billion. Wow, that would be crazy.
Whether they do actually, but I reckon that's like they're going for big money.
Do you think they get that? Like, do you think a bid of 6 billion will ever come in for Tottenham Hotspur?
I don't know. I mean, it earns, man. I mean, 600 million, wasn't it? Wasn't it our revenue?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Something like that. We earn big money. We are a absolute cash cow. So whoever gets it is onto a sure thing.
Yeah, they're definitely onto a moneymaker.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
So I think there's I think Enoch know whether they can either keep it and they know it's not there for a short thing, or they can sell it for big money. But I think selling it to close to what Chelsea sold theirs for is not going to be the going rate for them, I reckon.
All right, well, that's the situation on Brooklyn Eric. We've got a couple of potential transfer stories to talk about as well. Very reliable in Team Talk say that Tottenham and Manchester United are ahead of Fulham in the race to sign Middlesbrough's 23-year-old midfielder Hayden Hackney. I mean, it feels like we speak about Hayden Hackney a lot.
Yeah, he's been the subject of he's been the subject of conversation for many years now. Seems so, at least a couple. Seems to be a good midfielder. Question is about what we think of our midfield. Do we need an extra person there? If we do, is it someone like Hackney that we need?
I feel like he's the profile we actually need, though.
Yeah, is he a more of a deep lying player?
Deep lying progressive player, yeah.
Okay, so but what does that mean for Gray, Bentancur, Paulinho, Bergvall, Sarr? We've got a lot of options. So I don't know. I would be highly surprised if a centre midfielder is on our thinking in January.
Yeah, maybe not in January, but I mean, we do need one eventually. I mean, everyone's bemoaning the fact of how we can't progress the ball through the centre of the pitch. Yeah,
unless what Frank is saying about Bentancur, we start to see a bit more. And obviously Bergvall, hopefully he can start. I think he can do that role. We just need to see him in the 8 a bit more. So I do think we have some solutions. We just haven't implemented them just yet.
And the next one, we're going to talk about Brentford's midfielder, Yehor Yarmouk. And Court Offside says that Manchester United have added Brentford and Ukraine's defensive midfielder Yarmouk to the list of their transfer targets after sending scouts to watch him this season. Both Man United and Tottenham are really keen on the highly rated 21-year-old, with former boss Thomas Frank a big admirer.
Yeah. I mean, there's video evidence of it. Everyone's seen that famous...
Yarmouk, wow!
Yeah, that famous team talk he did, and he was obviously very, very complimentary of Yarmouk. Same answer I'll give to Hackney. We've got so many... Like, is Yarmouk better than any of the midfielders we have? Frank's got to make that determination.
Yeah.
I doubt he's done that right now. So I think any talk of bringing in these midfielders is going to be premature, but I'm sure he's one who's on the list in case we do need one, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, we just need to focus on the forward line, in my opinion. I think the future our centre-backs look good. I think potentially one more full-back to come in and a left winger, and depending what happens with the number 9s and how they all get on this season, potentially a number 9 as well. That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
So that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below all your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we've talked about today. We have a super chat from Mr. Sendy Flus.
Sendy Flus.
And he says, hands up if you miss Levy. I don't see anyone putting up their hands. No one has put up their hands. Big up to Sendy.
Well? Oh, no, that was from yesterday.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Sendy Flus.
Can you connect it?
Oh, is it not connected?
All right, let's move on and let's get into the predicted lineup, starting off with Leeds away, obviously, this weekend. Last game before the international break, the dreaded last game before the international break. Yeah, I mean, we've been playing 4-3-3, haven't we, of late? I just want to see us play a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's definitely been 2-8s in the last couple of games. So I think, look, we'll get into the lineup, but surely there's a certain player that needs to go in the 10. Surely in this game. Come on. Brian Daigle in all our predicted lineups is like every game he goes, I think maybe he'll go back 3 this game. Everything's. I think he might change it. I think maybe this is the one he'll go back 3. I don't think this is the one he'll go back 3.
Yeah.
But I mean, we haven't seen that formation since PSG though.
No, we haven't, and it looked incredible in that game.
Yeah, but I guess time and place. But
yeah, and Leeds away shouldn't be that time or place. But in goal is obviously going to be.
Well, I guess injuries. I guess.
Oh, we'll look at the team news then quickly before we get into the predicted lineup. So obviously,
yeah. Muani, he's remains out for this week, with still being described as a dead leg, but have to hope it's not. Romero missed midweek, back for this one. Really good news, a quick turnaround for him. Solanke had successful minor surgery but remains out. We'll see after international break when he's going to be fit. Dragoshin, Kulusevski, Maddison remain long-term injuries, although Dragoshin's been back on the pitch and training with the first team for a few weeks now. And Kosta Takai is also been training with the first team for the last 10 days. So very soon, I'm hoping maybe... I reckon after international break, or maybe come the end of November, it could be just Kulusevski and Maddison potentially.
Yeah, with Maddison, with Kulusevski hopefully coming back in the next month after.
Yeah, touch wood. Let's hope. So
we need Decky, man. We desperately need him.
Yeah, Decky's going to be very important. And yeah, I mean, the thought of adding Decky and Maddison to that forward line, man, it just stuff of dreams, but it just seems so far away.
Yeah, I think you need to get Maddison out of your head a little bit, because we ain't going to see him till at least the back end of the season. At the very earliest.
It's just he's working very hard, clearly, isn't he, to get back fit? But the thought of it is just
it's mouth-watering.
I know, it's just a shame that we're not going to see it probably this season.
Yeah, but let's get into the predicted lineup. In goal is obviously going to be Big Vic, and I think Big Vic, he needs to buck up his ideas a little bit, his performances, because a lot of question marks over Vic at this moment in time. Last 2 games, not great, by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, that second half against Wolves really worried me because he just showed like massive signs of panic. Every time he got the ball, was kicking it out of play. His goalkeeping as well. I mean, a couple of goals that we've conceded over the last few weeks have been down to him. So, I mean, he has been named in the leadership group, but he needs to improve those performances.
Definitely. He needs to get this nervousness out of his game. I think he needs to add that little bit more composure back into his game, which he doesn't really have. He's such a passion merchant, as they call him. Like he gets pumped up, and sometimes that leads to a bit of chaos in and around him, and he needs to work on that. Do you think it's fair to say, some people say he's cost us 4 points over the last two Premier League games? Is that harsh or is that fair?
I think he's had a hand in it. I wouldn't say it's been solely him that has cost us those points, but
I would
he's
argue
been a contributing factor.
I'd argue Wolves, no, because I don't think it's totally his fault for the result, because they were getting in that game anyway. I would say Brighton, I would argue maybe, because we were actually played quite well, and that goal came out of a bit of nothing. True. And we might have won that game if he didn't make that mistake.
Yeah,
so I think Brighton maybe. Yeah. I would say Wolves not necessarily.
Yeah, because Wolves were just putting a stinker in the second half. Like, yeah, you're right. Brighton was probably one of our better performances of the season. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Vic in goal, right back. I think Pedro Porro comes straight back in.
Oh well, he started against Bodo, but he was rested against Wolves. I mean, he was missed. I felt. And in this kind of game, we're going to need him. So I think I don't think he can go Spence right back. I think Porro comes in.
So Porro right back, right centre back is the return of Cuti Romero, and
I actually confirmed he's going to start.
Yeah, he confirmed it. So I feel like we missed him massively out in Bodo, to be honest, because as much as Kevin Danso was putting his body on the line for the team, you saw the ball playing out the back, the ball progression from that area of the pitch where Romero just likes to put those like dinks in the midfield or dinks out to the fullback, whatever. Like, we were missing that desperately.
Yeah, I also felt like out of possession, Danso, which I thought he usually does, but he wasn't doing it enough, I felt, for me. Just like being a bit more aggressive out of possession, pushing a bit higher, nicking the ball off the opposition and regaining possession. I felt he was a bit too standoffish, which you don't associate with someone like Danso. Obviously, Romero coming in, he'll obviously offer that as well. I'm sure Calvert-Lewin ain't going to be looking forward to facing him.
Yeah, definitely. So Romero, right centre-back. Left centre-back will be the ever-reliable Mickey van der Ven on the back of his captain display in Bodo.
His hamstrings are holding up.
Yeah, well, don't speak, man. Don't speak. But with Mickey van der Ven, I thought he put in a really good display out in Bodo. But there was that kind of period, wasn't it, where he just got a bit too overly frustrated, and it looked like he could be playing himself into a red card, but he did scrap that out of his game, got us goal, and ended up with a very good display.
Yeah, I think for his first run out as captain and having that responsibility, I think he did quite well. You could see in the back line he was the one ordering players around, giving instructions. He took that responsibility on quite well, and obviously he did drag us back in the game with the goal as well, so he took that responsibility as well. I thought he actually did defend quite well for most of the game. So look, Mickey's such an important player for us. I think he's actually growing as a centre-back even since Frank has come in, so really like his progression. And look, we all know if he can stay fit, there's no stopping Mickey van der Ven becoming one of the best in the league if he's not already. Yeah,
I completely agree with that. And then to make up the final player of the back four, it's a toss-up between Destiny and Jed, and I feel it will be Destiny. I think Destiny, when you're looking at his performances away at Brighton, I thought he was our best player on the park that day. Such a threat down that left-hand side, and we're going to need that in this game to break down this Leeds team. I think, horses for courses regarding Udogie and Jed Spence, and I just feel like this is a much more a game suited for Destiny Udogie.
Agreed. And obviously Udogie did get that rest in midweek as well. I think in line to start in this game, and I think he's going to be needed. I think he's been, obviously Brighton I thought he was brilliant. Wolves I thought he played really well as well. He just needs to add a little bit extra when he gets in those positions of just picking his players out, and once he does that, there's going to be just no stopping him. I think his final ball is just a tiny bit off at the moment, but it's nearly there. And I think the more he practices it and gets in those positions, it's going to come. I really think. I think his link-up play and getting in behind and linking up with wingers and just putting the opposition fullback in midfield under pressure, it's been fantastic. And if you're an opposition winger, how hard must a doggy be to track? It must be near impossible. So powerful, and he's just away from you. Nothing you can do. So I think I think he has to start in this game, and it's going to be very important.
Thing is with Destiny, he's just consistently arriving in the right areas, isn't he? And like you say, it's just about that finishing touch now. Because there were a couple of times in that Brighton game, he was in the right area, just picked the wrong move or delayed the pass a bit too long. But you trust him to get that right. So that's the back four: Pedro Porro, Cuti Romero, Mickey van der Ven, and Destiny Udogie.
Now the hardest bit every week.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on to the midfield, I think the first midfielder we're going to put in, I think João Palhinha. Obviously, he was on the bench for Bodo, which I think was probably in line to give him a bit of rest coming in for this game.
Yeah, I think so. And obviously he's been such an important player for us. Did play 20 minutes out in Bodo, but I think he was rested because he needed a rest, but he's coming back in for this game. I'm pretty confident. Yeah,
so João in the midfield. Now who goes next to him? In my opinion, what I want to see is Archie Gray there.
There's been a big clamour for Gray.
Yeah,
everyone is saying Gray this weekend. Doesn't mean it's going to happen just because there's a fan consensus that he should play, but there is, and I think that's what everyone wants to see. Had a great cameo in Bodo when he came on, did really well against Doncaster when he started. He was asked about him in his press conference and was very complimentary, but I don't know, I got a sense that from his answer he might not start. I just got a sense of it. Sometimes it's not necessarily like anything logical, it's just given how he was answering the question, it didn't necessarily point to he's definitely starting. One player is actually also available, we didn't mention, is Basuma, but I don't think he's going to go in this one. But he is actually available now, which is interesting. Obviously, you could make a case for Bergvall. Could Bentancur, he likes to play, he's been liking to play them together. Could he retain his place? Sarr didn't have a great game in Bodo, but he's also available. A lot of different options, but I think, let's give Gray a go, man. I think we should put him in. I'm not 100% convinced he actually will do it, but I'm also not really sure who it is going to be. So I think it could be as much Gray as anyone else.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really want to see Bergvall in the 10. I like him a lot better, a bit deeper, like in the 8. I think Bergvall's a lot better there. You got Pape. I thought Pape, he just looked a bit leggy against Bodo. So I think he could probably do with another rest as well. He's got to go out to Senegal in this international break, which will take a bit more out of him as well. So I think probably Pape on the bench. So for me, I think it's, and obviously Bentancur's there as well, which, he could very well go for Palhinha and Bentancur again in the midfield. But yeah, I'd like to see Gray. And I think like with him going back to his old club, a pitch that he knows really well, a club that he knows very well, I think it could be like a very familiar setting for him, and he could like feel very comfortable on the pitch.
Yeah, and obviously he's going to get a warm welcome. You would think. I think now's as good a chance as any, I would just say, to give Gray a go. There's no real reason not to, and get him next to Palhinha, so he's got that bit of protection if need be. If he, but yeah, one thing I noticed about Gray so far this season, he does seem that little bit more physical, doesn't he? He seems to have added that little bit of physicality and muscle, so he's not getting as bullied as much, I feel, as last season.
And, that's what a year in the Premier League does for you, particularly a centre-back as well. Like, with the minutes that he got in the positions that he got it last year, I think, will stand him in good stead this season. I think we're already seeing that in the minutes that he has. So, yeah, Archie Gray, we're going to go in midfield alongside João Palhinha. In the number 10 now, it's got to be Xavi, surely.
I've just got this feeling he is going to go on the left again. I really hope it isn't. Obviously, he didn't start against Bodo in midweek. He didn't start, did he? Against Bodo midweek. Came on for half an hour to go. So I definitely think he starts. He came on in the 10. Did okay. I think he did all right. I didn't do anything special. I just felt, in terms of compared him to Bergvall in that position, he was just getting on the ball a lot more, just bringing other players in to play a bit more. Didn't really create. He obviously had a couple of moments where he won some free kicks, and there was a couple of good moments where he linked up with Udogie, but obviously you want a bit of magic, a bit of spark. He didn't really provide that. But he did okay. I wanted to see him start in that position in the Premier League. I mean,
his best performance has been against Brighton when he came on in the last half an hour.
I just
And
think, yeah,
just starting. I think he'll do it. I think he'll do it.
I really hope we do. I really hope we do. I think it's time. Come on, Thomas. We're all asking for it. Just do it. Now's the time. Like, you've got to see it to see if it's going to work or not. Like, he keeps shunting around on the left because he's worried about this and that. Well, let's see. If it doesn't work, okay, then you shunt it back on the left. But it's not really working on the left anyway, so you might as well just get him up to speed in the 10. Like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Just get it over with.
And if you have that three in midfield, Palhinha, Gray, and Javi Simmons, there can't be no excuse of ball progression, surely.
Yeah, you would think so. Surely that should really help.
Yeah. So that's the three in midfield that we're going for. On the right-hand side is obviously going to be Mohamed Kudus. He's been so vital to our play ever since joining the club, and we saw how important he was when he came on against Boda on midweek.
Yeah, I've obviously voiced my concerns about him being too important to the team. It's a bit of an issue at the moment. But hopefully you add Xavi a bit closer in the 10 to him, you add Gray. Hopefully that means there's a few more threats coming from different areas rather than just relying on him. But yeah, he's been so important to us. I'll shudder to think if we hadn't signed him and we didn't have him in the team, or what our beginning of the season would have looked like, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. So Kudus on the right, Xavi in the middle. On the left is a big talking point. Obviously, Odebear has been favoured there recently. You got Brennan Johnson, who, he doesn't seem to be liking him on the left-hand side anymore, even though he did get a couple of goals at the first few games of the season. There is Matisse Tell there as well.
Did you get any minutes? Obviously, no, not against Boda. Who's the one before Boda? Wolves, he got some minutes, and obviously came on, did okay, I guess. He only had 5 minutes, though, didn't he?
I think he's going to start Tell.
I think so as well. Because Odebear just didn't really do much against Boda, given the opportunity.
You say that, which is, it's not, far from the truth. But I thought if anything was going to happen from any of the starting players up front, it was going to come from him. Like, he was the one that looked like most active.
I agree, but he still didn't really do much. Like, he did hit the post, to be fair, late on. But, like, it wasn't a performance to, he's starting Saturday. You know what I mean?
But as much as we talk about Javi Simmons always getting shunted over to the left, like, Matisse Tell's always been shunted up front, and it's not doing him any favours. So I want to see him on the left to see what he can do.
And I think Frank does as well. He said it before. He said, I want to see him on the left. That's maybe his best position, and we just haven't seen it. So I think, given the fact he got no minutes, he came on against Wolves, did affected the game somewhat. The fact that Odebear Johnson didn't really set the world alight in midweek as well. Again, is this an opportunity to give him a go? And I think being with the doggy is going to help him open up that space.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good opportunity to go with Tell, and I really hope he does. The only worry I do have, and it's a slight worry I have, is he again going to go Tell up front? And I really hope he doesn't, because Rishi's played a lot, and he played 90 minutes again against Boda. He played 90 minutes against Wolves. So there's a back in my mind, I'm worried, is he thinking, does Richie need just a bit of a rest? And if he does think that, is he going to go Scarlett? If not Scarlett, he's going to go Tell there. And I really hope he doesn't. But he's the only other option at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm worried about that.
I think he does go Richie up front. I think he does. So. He does go Richie up top, and I think Richie. I think he's looked a bit isolated in recent weeks up top. Not seeing much of the ball, not seeing much quality from him. But let's hope that he can do the business in this game. And if we're saying this is the team, hopefully he won't be as isolated as he has been in recent weeks. If you get Javi in the 10, if you get Archie Gray just behind, Kudus and Tell either side, then hopefully we can get Richarlison more involved. Yeah,
for sure. And I think Tell's the kind of player who will like to get close to him a bit, because I think Odebear likes to stay a bit wider, but I think Tell will like to get a bit closer to goal. So I think that would help. And I think their dynamics will be good, because I think the dynamic of Tell and Udogie should really work, because Udogie likes to provide the width and get to that byline, which means we don't need, because I think that's what Odebear likes to do as well. I think Odebear likes to take on his man, and he seems to prefer to go on the outside than go on the inside, Odebear, when he takes on his man. But Tell, I think, will use that run from Udogie, and it means he can either go on the outside, but I think Tell's one who does prefer to go on the inside and maybe get those shots in or get those in swinging crosses in. And so I think that dynamic should really work better than it does with Odegaard potentially, which I think could be good. I actually think if Johnson was there with a doggy, it could work better than he does with Spence, but we haven't seen that yet. So yeah, I'm really intrigued to see how that dynamic works. One thing I do like about that dynamic between Odegaard and Udogie though is I like that Odegaard does link up with him. Like he finds those little passes in behind to Udogie, and he does keep the ball. Whereas I feel like when there's Johnson there, he's just so careless on the ball, isn't he? He just gives it away, and he doesn't find Udogie when he's making those runs. But Odegaard does, and he knows little things like that he won't get the credit for. So yeah, but we are going with Tell, and I'm intrigued about that kind of dynamic.
The thing is with Tell, I think like he's so desperate to do well, isn't he? Like you could just see it.
He tries too much.
That's what I'm saying. Like he just tries a bit too hard. Where if he was just to calm down a little bit, don't run around like a headless chicken, and just channel that kind of want and desperation to do well in a different way, I think he could do so much better for us.
Yeah, I feel like that because obviously he's not in the Champions League squad, the pressure on him to perform in these games is just that little bit more, because it's if you don't, obviously you have to perform now. It's not even like if you don't perform now, you're not playing next game. You know you're not playing next game, so you have to perform in this game.
Got to grab every
to
opportunity.
Justify playing in a 2 games time. And so it's like a weird thing. If you don't play well in this game, that means you might have to wait 3 weeks before your next chance. So the pressure to like really show what you're capable of is even more than it would have been in other given situations. So I think he feels like, okay, I need to get a goal, I need to get an assist, I need to get in these positions. Like sometimes there are positions where maybe he should be passing, he goes for goal because he just feels like he needs to be showing his usefulness like in every game. But that's not a great mentality, because it always should be for the team. It shouldn't be about you, but it's difficult when you're in that situation. Because you always, especially when you're young, like Tell, you're 20, you're not as experienced, you're still making your way in the game. You're still trying to prove how good you are, and you're still trying to show you should be starting every week and everything like that. I feel for him a bit, but I agree with you. I've seen other players go, they go through this, they just do too much. I remember Kane, I know it's a very different situation, but even Kane, after he had that amazing first season, if you remember, in his second season as our starting number 9, I think the first 10 games of the season he didn't score, and you could see he was just trying so hard. He was like taking too many touches, and he was inside his own head. And I remember it just clicked suddenly. Like he got his goal, like he got a scrappy goal against City. I remember like a deflected off his shin and it went in, and all of a sudden the goals came flooding back. He was only taking one touch, and he was doing things instinctively, and he wasn't thinking too much. I think that's sometimes how it goes for players.
Yeah. Look, it can go both ways. Like, but I feel like hopefully if he gets that one goal, you'll see the whole weight of the world kind of lifted off his shoulders, and hopefully he'll start playing again, start playing with a bit of, a bit of less pressure and a bit more kind of freedom within himself a little bit. But no, that is the 11 that we're going for. So Vicario in goal, Porro right back, Destiny left back, Mickey and Kuti at centre backs, Paulinia, Archie Gray at centre midfield with Javi in the 10, Kudus on the right, Tell on the left, and Richarlison up top. Let us know your thoughts on the lineup. Is that the lineup you would go with? Is that the lineup you think Frank will go with? Let us know your variations in the comments section below. But it is time to move on to the match preview. Tottenham against Leeds. Tottenham on the back of 3 consecutive draws in all competitions, 2 in the Premier League against Wolves and Brighton. Obviously one was a lot better than the other. The Wolves game just angered a lot of people with the second half performance, because at half time in the Wolves game, I was sitting there in the stands thinking, what, if we keep going the same way we're gonna once we get one, I feel like the floodgates can open a little bit. Obviously that never came, and we just never came out for that second half, and what happened. Brighton was a bit different. I felt like we came out the blocks really well, and they scored against the run of play, then they got another one, and we fought back well to get it back to 2-2. But 2 very different draws, 2 very different games.
Bodo as well.
Yeah, Bodo as well, coming back from. So I mean, in the last 3 games, we've come back from 1-0 down and 2-0 down twice.
Well, there's been Doncaster in there if you count that. But.
Yeah.
And that shows good mentality, and that's good. And that will give you the team confidence going forward that if we have a setback like we've had in these last 3 games, no need to panic, stay calm. We know we can get back in the game.
Yeah, and hopefully we won't need that in this game. But
That's what Frank said in the presser. Hopefully this time we go 1-0 up instead of 1-0 down.
Yeah, we need to show that we can go 1-0 up because it hasn't happened in a while.
We haven't given up a lead under Frank, have we? Oh, PSG, but apart from PSG,
No, the only game we lost was 1-0 to Bournemouth.
Yeah, I'm saying all drawn. Like we've only drawn when we've been behind.
Yeah, because Brighton was our first draw of the season, I think.
Yeah, so we're very good when we take the lead. We haven't given up any leads yet.
No. But look, I think it's going to be a really difficult game. And if you think like, oh, we're just going to play a newly promoted side and walk over them, this isn't going to be the case this weekend. Ellen Road is always a really tough place to go. They've shown what a good team they can be this season already. I think Daniel Farker has got them playing really well, and I think they've impressed quite a few people since they've come back into the Premier League. And they haven't lost at Ellen Road so far this season. They've played some decent teams. You know, they've drawn with Bournemouth, who have done really well this season. They've drawn with Newcastle, and they've beaten Everton 2-0 in the first game of the season.
Yeah, what's interesting about Farker is he obviously he was in the Premier League before with Norwich. And when he was in the Premier League, they were known as this really entertaining, good footballing side who were just basically like Burnley under Company or Southampton under Russell Martin. They were that kind of team. Played nice football, you know, impressed a lot of people, but ultimately never really had good enough players to play that kind of football in the Premier League. And he seemed to be the kind of guy, I'm just going to do it because this is how we got promoted. And, you know, I'm going to play this football. I'm not going to change, essentially. He was one of those managers, ideological. And obviously Norwich went down a couple of times, I think, under him in the Premier League. At least once.
Yeah, we know a lot about those kind of managers.
We do. And obviously he got relegated a couple of times with them. And he played very good football last season with Leeds. They were a very entertaining side. But it was almost a weird thing. So in the summer, there was even talk about getting rid of him because there was a fear, I think, for Leeds that, yes, he got us promoted and he got us promoted playing good football, but is it going to happen again like it did with Norwich where he's just going to come, we're going to play the same way, and ultimately we're not going to be good enough to stay up and we're going to go down. But he seems to have changed. He seems to have adjusted and he seems to have realised, okay, we got promoted playing this football, but maybe now we're in the Premier League, we need to approach it in a different way. And they have been a lot more solid defensively since they've come up. They're not this just entertaining team who love to play pretty football but ultimately get done because they're not good enough defensively. They're a lot harder to beat and a lot harder to score against. I know Arsenal did score 5 against them, but you know, they've, apart from that, in the other 5 games, they've only conceded 4 goals. So they're a lot tied to defensively. They kept clean sheets against Newcastle. Clean sheet against Everton at home as well. Fulham, it was only a last-minute, really weird own goal that cost them a clean sheet away at Craven Cottage as well. So they've been a lot more defensively resolute since they've come up to the Premier League than they were, and there seems to be a lot more focus on that. Yeah. So you got to give Farke credit because there was a lot of worry, I guess, from because there's no real reason to talk about changing your manager to get you promoted, unless there's a real reason for it. And the reason was of what we saw. I think is it once or twice he's been relegated with Norwich? I think maybe twice because of what he used to do. So we're not coming up against a Leeds side that are going to be just really open. No. They're going to be very, very solid.
It's St. Bielsa's Leeds.
Yeah, it's going to be they're going to be hard to break down. It's going to be they're going to use their aggression, their strength, you know. And I've been impressed with them, I have to say, because I really thought they would struggle. But they made some really decent signings, some Premier League proven players, and they seem to be going all right.
Yeah. And you look at their last game against Bournemouth, right? They were 2-1 up. I mean, they went 1-0 down with Semenyo. They quickly got it back, I think, before half-time or just after half-time. And then it took for a last-minute goal for Bournemouth to level it up. So they're very close to beating that Bournemouth side, and Bournemouth are doing so well this season. This was the lineup that they played in the last game against Bournemouth in the 2-2 game. So they got Carl Darlow in goal, Bogle, Roden, Strike, Goodmanson at the back. And Joe Roden, I mean, he's been brilliant for them. Obviously had a stunning season in the Championship last year, and I think he started this year's Premier League campaign really well as well. Such an aggressive defender. Obviously, we know him, but don't know him too well because he never really got too much of a chance.
He scored last game.
Yeah, he scored last game as well. So, I mean, he's going to be a threat from an aerial threat from set pieces. We know that. I mean, Ampadu, Stack and Longstaff in the midfield. This guy Stack that they have, I don't know if he's a new signing or not. Yeah, he is. But he likes to take a shot. He really does.
Scored a great goal.
Yeah, he's got a hell of a shot on him. So we got to be wary of him from kind of shooting from range.
And he's got a brilliant free kick against Wolves. Yeah, and he's definitely one you got to be wary of. And obviously Longstaff, I've always thought for Newcastle he was quite a solid midfielder. He's one of those where maybe, you know, he had a ceiling, and if Newcastle really wanted to improve, he maybe had to be moved on. But he was always one of these dependable players for Newcastle who I always felt you could rely on him to like put in a solid display. So I think that's quite a smart signing from Leeds as well. Ampadu is one who's just been he's been around the clubs a bit, but he seems to have found a home here at Leeds.
Yeah, and where they've really regenerated their team is the forward line in this summer. They've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front, who's doing a decent role in the number 9. I think it was a really smart signing because I think he needed to leave Everton, and to get a seasoned Premier League striker is a really good job for Leeds. And they've got Okafor and Aronson who started on the wings as well. And Noah Okafor was a player that we were linked with last season. I mean, not many Spurs fans wanted him, to be fair, but it's a decent pickup for Leeds.
Yeah, and he scored his first goal against Wolves the other week, and for good as a winger. Just ups the quality of the team. A player who's got experience at the top level. Had a couple of moves that didn't quite work out in Italy, but he's a good player. Like, there's a reason he was courted by some big clubs out in Italy, and I think Leeds have got potentially a really decent player up there. Calvert-Lewin obviously is one of these signings that is always going to be maybe a bit ridiculed because he's been out of form for quite a while at Everton, but he's a striker who when he's at his best can perform at this level and can score goals. Already got a goal against Wolves as well as Everton's account, so he's on his day can be a bit of a handful, could be a bit of a smart signing on a free transfer as well. So yeah, I think the forward line, I wouldn't say, I think it's good. I think it gives them a real fighting chance of staying in the league. I think by no means guaranteed, but I think getting that level is a much better option than having someone like Bamford or any people like that. I think Calvert-Lewin we know can play at this level, so could be a smart signing, and also adds that little bit of height threat from corners and things, so it just gives them that aerial threat which we know can be so vital in this league. We're already seeing a lot of teams target set pieces and things like that, so I think I like a lot of their business they've done. I mean, I thought they did sign a lot of players, and when I was initially looking at them, I was thinking, have they done enough? Like, they've signed a lot, but is there real quality where you're sure they're going to be staying up? But what they've done is just signed quite a few players, just very experienced in the top level. A lot of them know the Premier League. People like James Justin, people like Sean Longstaff, Calvert-Lewin, and that also with the fact that Farke seems to have adjusted his approach is encouraging for them.
Another element to this game is obviously Joe Rodon playing against us. I think, was it the first time Joe Rodon played against us since we sold him? It might be. But there's also the Gray brothers going head-to-head. We saw on the graphic before that Harry Gray is actually out for this game, but Archie is returning back to Leeds for the first time since his £40 million move to Tottenham Hotspur, which is going to be interesting. It will be interesting because it's a ground that he knows well. He's got a lot of clamour from the fan base to now start this game after 2 really good performances out in Boda and in the Carabao Cup against Doncaster. If he does start, surely he'll get a good reception there, right?
Yeah, you'd think so. A boy who came through their academy and got them a big load of money after only 1 season. So I think he was a favourite there. He was absolutely loved. I know a Leeds fan quite well. He obviously was a massive fan of his. He was telling me about Archie. I remember back in November of his first season saying this kid is incredible. He's going to go right to the top. And obviously by the end of the season we had signed him. I'm sure he'll get a good reception if he does start.
I kind of feel like it might be one of those where They might give him some boos early on, but come the end of the game, they'll give him an ovation. Because it never sits right with me when, I know I've done it on a number of occasions, but cheering a player and then him ending up going to score the winner against you. Like once it's all said and done, you can show your appreciation. But like before the game, like at least give a bit of an edge and a bit of animosity towards him.
Yeah, I don't know if they will. Maybe because he's just such a young player. But yeah, I think there will be some animosity and a bit of edge to it in the crowd, because Ellen Road's always a intense place to go, always good atmosphere there. Wherever they are, they always have good support.
Yeah. I mean, the last 3 times we've played against Leeds, we've scored 4 goals. 4-1 last time, 4-3 the time before that, 4-0 the time before that. Can you see us scoring 4 goals again? We're going to go for 4 and 4?
Not the way we're attacking, but you never know. You never know. I mean, yeah, I hope so. I hope we can get 4 goals. I mean, that's not my prediction, but yeah, no, I don't.
The thing is, if we can start the way we started the Brighton game, but actually get on the score sheet this time, you never know what can happen. Like if you can get an early goal.
Yeah, you're right, and we have the talent, and maybe if we show kind of some of the traits we were showing against Brighton, and we show a bit more fluidity, we do have the quality to really take him to the sword, 100%. But just I'm not going to sit here and say it's going to start clicking in this game, because who knows? Because at the moment, I was hopeful after the Brighton game we're going to see it start to click, and it just hasn't really done that properly. So let's hope that we see some of the things that we need to see, like Xavi playing in his right position, some right dynamics on the wings and stuff like that, and maybe we will start to see it click. I think there is hope there, but I'm not going to bank on it. Like I'm not serious. I don't think there's evidence that it necessarily definitely will happen on the weekend. But I think it could take another scrappy 1-0 win or something like that.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I'll take 3 points however it comes this weekend. We just need to get back to winning ways.
We just need to end this bloody hoodoo.
Yeah.
This bloody before the international break hoodoo, all right? All right, we get it. You're going on international duty. You're meeting up with your mates. You're excited. You can't wait. But just get the 3 points, guys. There's a game to be had. There's a game to be played. Don't have your mind on the plane, because you've done it the last 6 times, all right? So let's break this hoodoo. Let's get the 3 points, and then you can go off to your international break.
Do you think that's what it is?
Get into your team.
Do you think?
What else is it? I don't know.
Because it could just be one of these freakish things.
Well,
like, I don't
maybe
know,
if it's once or twice, but 6 times. Was it 6 times now?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's crazy. It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years since we haven't won before an international break. Can you just do it just once? Just break the hoodoo. Let us know that this isn't just a curse that's going to go on forever. Let us just have it over with, and then we can move on and stop talking about it. I don't want to be talking about it before international break curse.
Are we finally going to do it?
It's a stupid thing to talk about.
Are we finally going to do it?
Yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to do it tomorrow. But then I've said that 6 times in a row, and we haven't done it.
Yeah, and I feel like last couple of games, like the Wolves game, all the games that we've dropped points in, Boda game, the Bournemouth game, like Spurs fans were so confident going into it and feeling like we can walk over these teams, we're definitely going to win. Didn't end up winning any of those games, but I feel like there's a lot of apprehension from Spurs fans going into this game. Exactly, and that could be a good sign for us. That could be a good sign for us.
100%. We whenever we have some apprehension, we usually put in a good performance.
Yeah.
So let's hope we all go a bit nervous, with a bit of anxiety, with a bit of let's take a draw mentality, and then we'll win.
Don't like those 12:30 kickoffs though on a Saturday.
Yeah. When was the last time we played 12:30 on a Saturday?
I don't know.
We beat City away on 12:30.
It's true, we did beat City. I don't know. I've just got it in my mind, because I think at one point we were just dreadful at 12:30 kickoffs. And I think it's just stuck in my mind since then. But I think of late we might have been decent at it. But there's just too many things, Last game for the international break, promoted side away from home, 12:30.
So if we win, because we're the early game, if we win, we go
second
for 1 point off top before Liverpool.
1 point off top, and Liverpool got Chelsea. I don't know. I don't know. Liverpool. Look, I think when you're looking
1 point off top,
when you're looking at the Premier League so far, I think Arsenal probably do look like the best team so far.
They look the most stable, don't they?
The most stable, but I don't think anyone has blown anyone away as of yet.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, no one's really grabbed it with both hands. Albeit, obviously, Liverpool have won 5 out of 6, so it's not like it's been a bad start. But you can see with their performances, they haven't quite got going yet. Arsenal have been good, but there's still something a bit missing with them when it comes to just maybe showing the true potential of what they have with the squad. You look at them, you're thinking, this squad shouldn't be fearful of anyone. They should be blowing a lot of teams away. And look, to be fair, they've had a difficult start, but the only team they've really taken to the sword has been Leeds. Other than that, there's been a lot of close games.
Yeah.
So they're still waiting to really get into a mode where they're blowing teams away, but obviously you can do that. Your City, I mean, after they blew Wolves away, everyone was like, okay, wow, and then they haven't really.
And we
done
blew
much.
them away.
And we blew them away, and it was like, okay. I thought if they would have won that game at the Emirates, I think that would have been a bit of a statement from them. So the fact they conceded right at the end, that probably obviously puts a damper on them. But yeah, no one in terms of title, like winning the title or anything like that, no one's really grabbed it yet with both hands. But that win against Arsenal, against Newcastle for Arsenal does seem significant.
If I could give you the power to make one choice tomorrow, which would definitely happen, like in terms of like a squad selection, what would you choose?
I would say that would definitely happen. That might not happen. Yeah, Xavi in the 10.
Yeah, it's got to be, doesn't it? It's got to be Xavi in the 10. Would you take Xavi in the 10 if it meant Tell up top?
Well, either Xavi in the 10 and Tell up top, or Xavi on the left and Richarlison up top. Is that
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I'll go Xavi in the 10. I just want to see it.
Yeah.
And I think that would help Tell, having Xavi in the 10. Because when we played against West Ham, again, it was like he was very isolated. Yeah, I think if you get Xavi near him, it might help him a bit, have someone to link with and play off. So I think it could help.
Yeah, I agree. I think the first and foremost thing that we need to see tomorrow is Xavi in the 10. Xavi in the 10, Xavi in the 10, Xavi in the 10. Maybe if you say it enough times, it will just become true. But look, that is, well, what's your score prediction?
I said 1-0. I mean, if we play the lineup that we suggested, and maybe I'm a bit more positive, a bit more attacking, I'm going to stick with 1-0. I think there's still things we're working out at the moment. We're still kind of finding our feet when it comes to really that ability to take teams to the sword. And Leeds are defending quite well at the moment. I do think we can keep a clean sheet because I think we're good enough to keep out that Leeds front line. I don't think that front line is anything special. But I'm only going to go with one goal. I don't think we're going to blow them away. So 2-0.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1. I do think Leeds are going to get a goal. I think it's going to be another stodgy one, though. I think it's going to be a really tight game.
1-0 down, come back?
Potentially. I actually think we'll probably go... I'm not sure. I don't know who goes 1-0 up. But I do feel, though, if Spurs get the early goal tomorrow, we could have a bit of a convincing win. But I feel like it's going to be a game at twos and throws. And I think we will go 1-0 down and come back and win the game. But, yeah, look, in terms of how strong Spurs are from set pieces, this could be one of our hardest tests yet in terms of trying to score from set pieces because they're a physical team. They've got players like Joe Rodon and Pascal Strike at the back who, physical players. So,
but if we can get the win, it just continues what is a pretty results-wise good start. As I say, we would go before Liverpool play a point behind them, which is pretty mad to think about. Obviously, Arsenal probably beat West Ham or whatever results happen later on happen, but obviously, most likely, it would mean, we end the October international break in the top 4 at the very least. And it means, it would mean if we get a win in this game, we can bounce back and get consistent results. And that's only a positive thing. Even in a period where we haven't been playing that well and performances haven't been fantastic, we're still getting pretty good results and we're still doing well in the league. And that's something to be commended and something to, give Frank credit for. And because I do believe it's only a matter of time before it does start to click. I don't think it's going to be these performances forever. Yeah,
I agree with that. And you're looking at the fixture list as well. You're looking at the games that we've just had where we all thought, we got to win those games because, there's very hard games coming up in November. However, when we come back from the international break, why this game is even more important, Villa are starting to click a little bit now. We got Villa next after this. After that, we got Monaco away in the Champions League, which is a really big game after the draw against Boda. Everton away, which is going to be really hard. Newcastle away in the Carabao Cup, and then that run starts with the Chelseas and the Man United and the Arsenals. So we've actually got such a difficult run coming up now.
Yeah,
after
but
the international break.
True, but we've shown we can mix it with some of the big boys.
Yeah.
PSG, City. we put in some good performances. So I'm not saying it means we're going to win all those games. I'm just saying I don't look at those games. I'm like, we're not going to. I think maybe Newcastle, I am pretty worried about that one. But like Chelsea at home, bring them on. Come on. United at home, what's to be worried about?
Everton away, though.
Yeah, Everton away. Those are the kind of games I'm more worried about. Everton away, Monaco away. I'm worried about those couple of games because those are the kind of games like where we're playing against pretty decent teams that we're obviously favourites for, but they're also got a good quality. But they're going to play smarter. We seem to be struggling against those kind of teams at the moment.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like real big teams, like bring them on, man. Let's go. Bring them on.
All right. Well, there you have it. I'm going for 2-1. Sim's going for 1-0 win to Spurs. Let me know your score predictions in the comments section below. We are back on the watch-alongs tomorrow, 12:15. We'll be here live for you guys. So come and join us on the watch-along tomorrow. Let's hope for 3 points. And it's always great when you get those 3 points on a 12:30. You can sit back with your feet up for the rest of the weekend and just watch all the other football play out in front of your eyes after you know that you've got 3 points. But let us know your thoughts and the game in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.